This is a video on how to remove Johnson & Johnson, Depuy, Expedium, Lumbar titanium variable angled head pedicle screws. So basically when you get into the spine, it looks like this. This is a peak rod, they're usually metal. The first thing you'll see is the cap. When the cap is tight on the screw, everything is very rigid. So the first thing is remove the cap, which is a very simple process. The cap looks like a hexagon there. And most screwdrivers fit this. So you remove the cap, and then you're looking at this. Now, quite often the bone is overgrown, the pedicle screw. So a very common step is you have to drill all the bone all the way around the screw. You see how this has been drilled around the screw? So you have to take the drill, the high-speed drill, and remove all the bone around the screw to make a channel. Then after doing all that and exposing the rod, you can take the rod out. At this point, I think the best thing to do is loosen up. This thing may be tight. The head and the shaft may be tight. So what you do is you can put a cob in and just rotate this around to loosen that up. At that point, you have to get a Fraser tip and look dead center in the middle of the screw, and you'll see the female part of the screw, which is in the shape of a Star of David. So what happens is you have a special screwdriver that you need from Depuy for this screw. You put the inside Star of David part of the screwdriver, and then on the outside there's just a standard secondary part that screws into the screw itself on the top, on the cap. So first you go into the shaft, and then the secondary part goes into the head, and that tightens it up, tightens the whole thing up so you can get good purchase into the shaft, and then you bring it out. Now let's say everything strips and you can't take the screw out. There's a fallback measure. What you do is you put in a rod that is exactly that short. So you cut a rod to about 1 centimeter, which is exactly the size of the screw. And then you put on a cap on top of that, super tight. And then you can take a pliers and then remove the whole thing. What that does is that tightens the shaft to the head, and then you can remove it by using the head. But it has to be very, very tight. And you have to somehow grab a hold of the screw, which the only way I think you can do it is a vice grips, or sometimes you can use special instruments. Okay, that's the Depuy Expedium titanium variable angle head pedicle screws, how to remove them.